Did you know UVM is the 5th oldest university in New England, predated only by Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, and Brown? But out of those 5, UVM is the only public university. Its reach covers Vermont, with extension offices from Brattleboro to Newport. As a land-grant university, UVM is dedicated to the service of the people of Vermont. And this year, the university welcomed its 28th president, Dr. Marlene Tromp. We spent an afternoon with President Tromp learning more about her vision for the future of UVM. So I want to talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I'm from Green River, Wyoming, which is a small trona mining town in the southwestern part of the state.
Okay. What was it like growing up with college aspirations in a place like that?
That's a really good question. The thing that I found really painful was how few the people I went to high school with, even really talented people, went to college. And when I interviewed for a dean's job at Arizona State University, one of the questions the president asked me was, what was it like to grow up wanting something more in this small town in Wyoming? And he called it a trona mining town, and most people have never even heard of trona.
Okay.
So I was pretty struck by that, but it felt like the world was so much bigger, and I wanted to know that bigger world. And one of the things I felt in Idaho, and that I've talked with the governor here about too, is I don't mind if young people go out of the state to explore the world, but then I want them to come home.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a good one. So how does that experience help you connect with our young Vermonters?
I think I understand what it's like to come from a small town and to make your way to a university, and how overwhelming it was. There were things I didn't understand, things I didn't know. I couldn't Google it.
No,
But I think if we are sensitive to the fact that these students have something that's so unique to give us, and that is different, and different actually helps us get smarter, then we want to find ways.
Cacophony.
Yes, we want to find ways to bring them into the conversation. So they should never feel like there's something less about what they are that makes them different, but that it actually is something that makes us all better. So I want them here at UVM.
Our conversation continued in the historic Waterman Building, administrative home to UVM presidents for nearly a century. I recently had the pleasure of getting to hear you speak at an event, and you said something that I found so moving. You said that the land grant mission was, quote, one of the most profound things this country has ever done. What did you mean by that?
You know, the university, as we now know it, is so different from the university of the launch of this country. And it was the first nation in the world, and I'm so proud that it was our Senator, Justin Morrill, who brought this idea forward to President Lincoln and was able to move it through Congress and get it approved. This notion that everybody has right to an education and should have access to an education, and that we wanted to educate in this country the best farmers and agricultural, scientists. We wanted to produce people who could, they called it in the Morrill Act, the mechanical arts, that we wanted to have people prepared, no matter what their walk of life, to lead in the world. And it changed this country.
So you are now the leader of one of the most influential institutions in the state of Vermont. How do you intend to make a difference in the lives of everyday Vermonters?
It's such a huge priority to me, and it is a role of great gravity, but it's also a service role. I see myself as a servant to our community and as a servant to the state. And one of the reasons you've heard me say over and over again, it's about our students, it's about the state, it's about our research. and that research is in service to our students, the state, and the world. So all of the things that we're doing are designed to advance the state, and that's a part of the land-grant mission. So you have private schools that were founded all over this country that, of course, they make an economic impact on the state just like we do, but they didn't have as a part of their vision and their responsibility, how do we serve our state?
Right.
And
Unique to
that's
the land grant.
Yes, that's a big part of what the land grant is meant to do.
Right.
So for me, it is about thinking about those everyday Vermonters every single day. And that means educating their children, serving them through extension, but also showing up to solve problems. So for example, during the historic floods that happened, UVM played a key role in helping the state recover, in thinking about how we can respond to flooding. And we're even doing work right now in bogs, understanding how bogs can help us be more resistant to flooding in the future and also keep Lake Champlain clean. And so the work that we're doing across our enterprise is designed to serve Vermont and Vermonters every single day. And sometimes that service might not be visible because it's so much a part of the fabric of what happens every day in Vermont. So one of my aims is not only to step up our service, but to render the service that we're doing to the whole state so much more visible to people so they can see the way in which we're thinking every day about Vermonters all over the state.
Yeah. That reminds me of how we often talk about research as being a public good.
Yes.
Yes. And UVM has recently become an R1 research university, very big distinction for us.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how that R1 distinction is going to continue to help the state?
Do you know what an R1 distinction means is that you can attract the best and the brightest researchers and the best and the brightest partners so that the research we do will be more impactful. It's also a little bit like you add some rocket fuel and it actually advances, and you take off and it advances the entire enterprise. It makes people think bigger. So we're in this moment where we've excelled, and now there's an opportunity for us to do even more because now everybody's thinking bigger.
How is UVM preparing students for the disruptions, the social disruptions, the job disruptions that may come with AI?
We have a crack team working on this right now, so let me start there. We have a crack team led by our provost that's working on asking questions about how we integrate it more fully into the work that we do here so we can serve our students and our state better. But also asking, how do we think about it as a part of our curriculum so that no student walks out of the university not just with a knowledge that it exists or maybe using it to help them, but understanding fully how to use it as a tool. And so if we can find ways to help students as a part of their curriculum, learn how to truly use the tool in a way that doesn't do work for them, but allows them to use it in a way that they can make themselves smarter, better, faster, more efficient. That's our goal.
When I was in school, I wanted to study art history. And my mother said, you can't because you'll never get a job. And so I was curious about your background in the humanities. You know, what type of a role does the humanities still play in higher education?
Well, first I'll say that
I want my mother to be wrong.
Let me say that my dad almost had a heart attack because I was pre-med. So
Okay.
when I switched,
I was pre-med also. I was pre-med and then said I was going to do art history. So.
Well, and that's what you tell a kid from a small town who's, you know, when your dad is a coal miner and a Toronto miner and he wants you to have a better life. He wanted me to go be a doctor. He was like, you're a smart kid. Go in there and be a doctor. And so I have a minor in chemistry, which not many English professors have. And my goal was to do something that would allow me to have a good future, but also to give back. And so for me, medicine felt like a way to do that. But I just fell in love with the humanities. And I saw the power in understanding the complexity of human experience.
I think it's good for critical thinking, which we need.
And communication, writing, reading, and analyzing complex things. And so I was so intellectually challenged, and I was so excited by what I was learning that my senior year I changed my major. And my dad actually called me and said, I will not help you go to school anymore.
Okay.
And so I worked 3 jobs my senior year to help finish paying for my education.
Wow.
But in the end, he was pretty proud. And I think we really need, and I think we've seen in new ways how much we need the humanities and social sciences right now as we grapple with generative AI, technological change. We have to understand the world and the people around us.
I agree. Okay, here's a question about Vermont.
Okay.
So you've only been here a short time. What has surprised you the most about life in Vermont?
Do you know, in the rural state I grew up in, people were extremely reserved. And that was really a landmark of this state, that Wyoming reserve. And I anticipated a little more of that here, but the generosity and kindness, the warmth, has been this incredibly delightful surprise. Now, let me say about my home state, nobody would drive by you in the winter if your car was broken down on the side of the road.
That's true. You would keep a rope in the back in case you need to tow someone out of. I used to live in Idaho.
Yeah. The very first car is going to stop. Nobody's going to drive by you.
Right.
But they may not talk to you in the car on the whole way home, right? Whereas the warmth here, the generosity of spirit here, the desire to bring people in and make them a part of community is so profound. And I met a Boise student who's at UVM.
Oh, wow.
Before I left Boise and came to Burlington. And I asked her, how did you find UVM when it's so far away? And she said that she had people tell her that she was built for UVM. And she'd been at San Diego State her freshman year, and she felt like it wasn't a place with a lot of community, and she felt lonely and sad all the time. And then she came here, and she is so happy here. And it's about that sense of community that I think exists here, and that's really fundamental to the place.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with you more. Vermonters are very warm people, which is now my pleasure to say thank you. We give you a warm thank you for spending time with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to get a chance to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Wishing you well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vermont, for learning and exploring with me today. I hope you enjoyed getting to know UVM's new president as much as I did. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.